Okay, hi guys. My name's Jane. I'm with MTD. Who's ridden the bus before? Awesome. You know who we are. I'm the grants manager and sustainability planner for MTD. I've been there about 6 years. I manage all of this sustainability stuff that I'm going to talk about. I also manage our state and federal grant funding. So you guys know who we are. We provide the public transit service for Champaign, Urbana, Savoy, the University of Illinois campus. Got all these routes all over town. Riding the bus is good for the environment. There are also other things that MTD does to make sure we're really being environmentally responsible. I'll tell you about some of those. We have buses. We have 111 buses, and right now 80% of those are hybrids. These are diesel-electric hybrids. They still use diesel fuel. The other 20% of our fleet are standard diesel buses. So these hybrids still use diesel fuel, but they also have batteries on them. You don't plug these buses in or anything. They work similar to a Prius, a hybrid car, where the energy from the bus, from the vehicle, actually charges the batteries, and then the bus runs on diesel and battery power. So that saves us some fuel. I'll kind of show you about what kind of fuel mileage we're getting on those, but first I just want to mention we're getting some new buses, a new technology of bus next year. These are hydrogen fuel cell buses. These are zero emission buses, so we're very excited about that. Good for the environment. They don't have any emissions, obviously, so that's exciting. They are very similar to all electric battery electric buses, I should say, but instead of using electricity to charge batteries to move a bus, they use hydrogen to charge a fuel cell that moves the bus. So we're also getting a couple new hybrids next year. We're replacing some older buses with hybrids. So next year we're looking at about 83% hybrid. We're getting these 2 hydrogen fuel cell buses, and we'll be at about 15% standard diesel. So since 2009, anytime a bus is old enough or has enough miles on it to be replaced, we've replaced it with a hybrid. So buses have to be at least 12 years old or have 500,000 miles on them in order for us to replace them. This is just an idea of what kind of fuel economy we're seeing. Our oldest, I'm just looking at 40-foot buses here. We do have 30-foot buses. That's like the one that's out there that you don't see quite as often. It only has one door. So those are our smallest buses. We just have a couple of those. Most of the buses are like this one. This is so perfect. This one that's passing, which is a 40-foot. The really long ones with like that accordion-ish bendy thing in the middle, those are 60-foot buses. So right now I'm just talking about 40-foot buses. I'll mention though, those fuel cell buses we're getting are going to replace the 60-foot buses, the big long ones. So focusing on 40-foot buses, our oldest 40-foot buses are from 2003. So those are pretty old, way past their useful life. They've all got at least 500,000 miles on them. We're kind of slowly replacing them as funding becomes available. Those are getting about 3.9 miles per gallon. Our newest hybrids are getting about 6.1. So we're seeing definite improvement there. I told you about the hydrogen buses. So the great thing is that the only output from the tailpipe is water vapor. A lot of people ask us, why are you doing these hydrogen buses? Why aren't you doing battery electric if you want zero emissions? Those are, that technology is a little more common. We like the hydrogen fuel cell buses because they get greater range. They can go further on a single fueling than a battery electric bus. We don't have the ability to have in-route charging like a lot of systems in California, for example, have. They have these en-route charging stations where kind of this arm comes down, maybe uses solar power and powers the bus as it's on its layover. We don't have the ability to do that. We're going to have a hydrogen fueling station at our facility in Urbana, and so that bus needs to be able to go all day. So the hydrogen fuel cell allows us to do that. There are a lot of other reasons. I have some handouts at my little table out there, which you should come visit, so I won't get into too much detail there. I do want to mention that MTD is ISO 14001 certified. Has anyone ever heard of this? Do you know what this means? Kinda. So this is an international certification, and we have an environmental and sustainability management system that's in place, and it's certified by this system. Basically, we have an environmental management system. We create goals every year. We have specific documentation. It's all related to our environmental efforts. And we chose to get certified. It's totally voluntary, but we chose to do that because we want it to really happen. We want to be held accountable by somebody outside of ourselves. And we want it to carry on no matter what staff come and go, no matter what other regulations come and go. This is a high standard that we've held ourselves to. So ISO has other standards, quality standards, safety standards, food standards. This is their environmental standard, and that's what we've focused on. We now have all of our facilities certified. So we do things like monitor our diesel fuel usage and see what direction it's going in and why, and create specific programs to improve that. The Freon that's in the buses, smaller things like that. The coach batteries that are in the buses. We store our fuel on site, so we have 2 underground storage tanks filled with 15,000 gallons of diesel fuel each. So making sure that if there was a spill, we would know what to do, stuff like that. So that's what that's about. What you're looking at here is our maintenance facility. Has anyone ever been here? I've given a couple tours to Parkland students or Parkland classes or just people. So that's our maintenance facility. On the top, on the roof, we've got solar panels. We've got about 1,200 panels. Right now, let's see, I think I have a graph here, yeah. We've actually expanded this facility since we've installed these panels. So when we first installed them, we were thinking, oh, it'll offset about 25% of our usage. And I should mention, the electricity from those panels go directly into our facility and it's used. And whatever else we need, we pull from the grid. So our facility is almost twice the size as it was in 2015 when these panels were first installed. So we're using a little more electricity, but we actually had kind of a good solar year last year. And so now we're at about 18, actually I think this year it was 17%. What I have up there is the average over the 3 years. So anyway, it offsets about an average of 18% of our electricity consumption for that facility. We're hoping to expand that solar array now that the facility is expanded. We're looking at other options in the community to participate in solar. The hydrogen fuel cell buses will use electricity to produce the hydrogen. We want to do that renewably, so we are looking for ways to do that. We've also got some bus shelters throughout town with panels on them. These were bus shelters that we couldn't get electricity to for various reasons, so they didn't even have lighting, so this is good for safety too. But there's a panel on the top and it kicks on this LED light inside the shelter once it gets dark. This is a picture of our admin office. I know you can't see this well, but the parking lot here that I'm showing you is made of permeable pavers. These are kind of like fancy bricks, and they allow rain and melted snow to infiltrate back into the groundwater system, so avoiding runoff, groundwater pollution, stuff like that. Also at this facility, we have a geothermal HVAC system. We have a white roof, which just means the roof is white, and so it reflects sunlight rather than absorbing and trapping that energy. I'm running out of time. You guys maybe have noticed that there's some construction going on the U of I campus. We're part of that. Mtd applied for some federal funding with the cities and the university to redo these streets on campus. It's quite a mess right now, but it's going to be really great when it's done. These streets are going to be safer and more accessible for pedestrians, bike riders, transit riders, cars, but that was our order of priority. Pedestrians, bicyclists, transit riders, cars. There are so many pedestrians and bicyclists in this area and transit riders, as everyone knows. So we really have to prioritize them. We want people to walk, we want people to bike, we want people to take the bus, and we want them to do it safely. So it's going to be great. There are better bike lanes, crosswalks, sidewalks, bus stops, all that kind of stuff. So bear with us. We're finishing up Project 1 and 2 on Green Street, hopefully soon. We've started on Project 3, White Street, and later this year, kind of getting into next year, we'll move into Project 4 on Wright and Armory, which will be quite a mess. Project 5 will be later, less of a mess, but it will all be good stuff. That's all I've got.